What's up, guys? So I'm going to be making a series of building this 2000 Accord coupe into a safari car by using the parts off of this one that I've already built, because I bought the car with front end damage from a T-bone accident, so the frame is pulled towards the passenger side. If you look here, you'll see the crease, and then all this is pulled this way. So because of that and what happened last Monday, which is on the back here, I got backed into a pole. Someone came flying around and I had to back up farther and ended up hitting a pole I couldn't see. And this whole corner it's not worth, it would cost too much to fix. It's folded in really bad, and the trunk almost doesn't close unless I slam it really hard. The frame right here is split, so rain gets right in that hole real easy. So it's just, there's no point milking it with the front end damage with that added on top. There's no point. So what I'm going to do is transfer everything over from the old one onto the new one, or technically the old one because this one's 2 years older, but including the engine and transmission, because this shell, the engine is seized up. It spun over about a month ago, no problem, but now is locked up. So I'm going to pull some parts off of it and save it for extra parts for mine, because mine runs great, but obviously it's not in a very good condition body. So I'm going to take the automatic transmission out of here and try and sell it for the cheap. I'm probably going to try and let go of it for $100, or if someone's willing to give me 50 to come get it, I'll come take it, please. I don't need it. I have a manual. I do not want an automatic. But that's got to go. Then the engine itself, I'm going to save some parts off of it, and then the rest of it's going to go. From there, I'm also doing the interior swap, because the interior is the brown and tan on this, which is ugly, and it's also kind of beat up. Door panels are rough. There's a lot of ash all over the place in there because the previous owner smoked in it, and it's covered in it. And the interior in this one is the black interior that I love, and I know most 6th gen enthusiasts like too, and it's in perfect condition. So I'm going to be moving that over and saving that, and then moving all the off-road stuff over. I have to drive this one as long as I can before I do the engine swap, because this is my only legal car. And I'm probably going to have to drive this one for a couple days, which is my girlfriend's car, but it needs a battery, and the alternator might be going. I'm not sure yet if it's just the battery, but it's kind of hard to tell until I get a new battery and drive it and see what happens. But other than that, it runs pretty well, so I had to fix it up. She got it for $300 from my buddy, and I'm going to be building this one up too, but this one's going to take longer because we got to save up for the parts over time. It's going to be a slow build, and I'll be making as best I can, another series on the Celica, because we want to turn this into a camper where the lift back opens up, you fold the back seat down, and then fold a little thing in the back that will flip over, and then you have two pieces of mattress that sit in there, and you can just move the second piece over the back seat and have basically a full-size mattress in the back of the car. And that's the plan for it. And then we just want to do a roof rack and a snorkel, and then like a winch, and then a skid plate, and then just a lift. So we're going a little more simple on this car, but it should be as capable of getting to places as the Accord will, because my girlfriend wants to be able to follow me into places that we're going camping, and then we're just going to sleep in that one because the lift back just makes it easier than an actual regular coupe. So moving on to this. First off, I'm starting with repairing the paint. I've already started on the driver's side here. So you can see it's dull on the top, but shiny on the bottom. That's because the clear coat had a line all the way down here. So I sanded it off, and I got a base coat color mixed at Higgs Auto Paint and Supplies, because they're like right around the corner for me. So I got that fixed up. I just got to basically clear coat it. and I'm going to wait till I finish the whole car before I bust open the clear coat, because it's a special stuff that you only, once you activate the agent in it, it only gives you a day or two before it starts to go bad. So I'm not trying to waste it, because it was $25 a can. It's a lot. So, but I've gotten all the way through this section all the way to the front. I just got to get a driver's side passenger to match, which I'm thinking about just stealing the one from this one, because this is the driver's side one from this one. It's very rough. The corner here is dented in, and I'm not trying to worry about that. So I'm just going to take the good fender off that one, repaint it, sand it down, and fix the glue around the little vent I have on it, because this does work. It does go all the way through. I don't know if you can, yeah, it goes all the way through, but the glue around it's a little rough, so I'd have to sand that up and fix it. But other than that, the fender's in great condition. I'm also going to be doing this cutout that I did on this side, on the passenger side anyway. Damn. Anyway, and then the passenger side fender I'm going to be redoing, because the cuts around the snorkel are pretty bad and rough. When I put the template on there, it just ended up not working out properly. So I want to be redoing the whole fender. I'm also going to be getting wide body fenders for this. No one makes them. However, I was looking at the RSX front fender kit. It looks like the front and back fenders would fit, but the front ones are like 400 and the back ones are like 680 or something. So I'm going to do the front ones only, and then I'm going to do like a universal set on the back that'll still look good, and just do front and back that way. And I'm going to try and get the fenders next month, in about 2 weeks. I'm going to try and get those and put those on first, then put the snorkel on, so that not only can I, work them around the snorkel, but it'll also fix this gap on the bottom here, because that, because of how low it is, that should give me a pretty good excuse to fill in the gap around the edges here that look kind of bad. The back here isn't so bad, but it's that front piece. I also had to hammer out the top here to get it to conform a little bit, which I did recently and very crappy when I did do it. So the wide body fender should actually make up for that, and I shouldn't have to cut into it that badly, except for the hole, and then the drill holes for the bolts or whatever. So that should make it look a lot meaner, especially with 1-inch wheel spacers that I want to do, because I can't afford rims like that. I'm poor. This is kind of a budget build. I have roughly $4,000 into this car, including the $1,000 I bought it for. So kind of a very budget friendly build to most people. From there, I'm trying to think. I'm probably going to be putting the roof rack on this weekend. Today is Thursday. I don't work tomorrow because of Christmas. So tomorrow I'm going to be working on this, trying to get the paint done. I'm just trying to get the first part of this video out, and then I'll probably switch up to the passenger side paint cleaning, which I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So this line starts and goes all the way down, all the way to the back. So this is pretty rough. This rust spot's gonna have to get sanded off. I want to pull the headlight, or the tail light rather, and I gotta do all the way through here. I've painted the roof black so far because I love my black roof with the black trunk and the black hood, but then the rest of it's just going to get the original paint color with paint corrections that it looks much better than it does right now, because right now it's that's a little rough. I want it to be very clean. This is supposed to be a very overland style build, very clean safari Accord is what I'm going for. I don't want it to be rough. I don't want it to be considered a gambler. I want someone to look at it and be like, man, that is clean. And that's the point. The only dirt it should be is actual dirt, and that's the point. So I'm going to be lifting it with HRG lift blocks, which I already have in the Accord. Basically, they just go in between the shock plate here and this spot. So this will basically be 2 inches lower, which pushes the suspension down, lifting it, if you don't know anything about lifts. I'm also going to be swapping these front forks out here for first gen CRV forks because they are 1/2 inch longer. The only thing is that the bolt points here are actually a little bit wider, but I'm going to use the bolt to just pull it together and it should work fine. I tried putting them on before, on this one before the dent happened, and I couldn't get them on because I couldn't compress the spring because it was too long, and but it would have worked. So I tried bolting the bottom piece to the lower control arm, which then tightening it fixed the problem with the gap. So it pulled it together and was, the same width as this one. And after doing that, I don't think it returned back. It just stayed. So the problem was that I literally could not get the shock into the arm by pushing into it and getting it to clip in, or trying to get it to meet with the lower control arm, because I didn't have enough space to lower it. And with the frame damage, it was this part was hitting the frame here, so I couldn't push it in because I could without banging the frame in a little bit, which I'd have to take the whole shock out, which I was not doing because I didn't have the time for all that. I couldn't get it to sit in here. So I'm also going to be taking the original shocks from the other Accord, because these guys are aftermarket. They have a tab on the back instead of a whole ring. That tab has snapped off on 2 separate pairs. That tab is snapped off of 2 different pairs in the past on my original Accord, the V6 sedan, sending the shock straight through the fork and into the CV axle. So that's a no-no. I still have the OG shocks on this one, which are still in fair condition. And then sometime in the future, I'm going to be getting first gen CRV shocks, lifting coilovers from Trueheart, which are $714, I believe, last time I checked the price. And that should give me an extra 1.5 inches, because the shocks are 2 inches shorter on the first gen CRV shocks overall than the Accord shocks, front and back. Like the front ones are 22 inches, I think, on the Accord, and then 20 in the back, and then the first gen CRV is like 20 in the front, 18 in the back, or something like that. It's exactly 2 inches shorter. So my lift blocks will make up for that 2 inches, returning them back to the same length as the original shocks for it. But then the lifting coilovers are capable of anywhere between 2 to 3.5 inches of lift from the stock CRV height. So I add those two 2-inch blocks on top, plug those in at the minimum height. I should be sitting a little bit higher than factory with the Accord. And then once I crank them up to almost max, I should be sitting at like 3 inches of lift on the Accord from factory, which is not counting the tires. Right now, with the 215/75 Rim 15 Yokohama Geolanders I have on here, I get about 1 inch or so of lift. So right now I have 2 inch of lift plus another inch from the tires. I have about 9 inches of clearance. I go to the 235/75 Rim 15s I want. That'll give me an extra inch on top of what I have now. So I'll have a 3-inch suspension lift, 2-inch tire lift, leaving me somewhere between 11 or so inches of ground clearance. I'm trying to aim for 12 overall. And I'm thinking if I can get a 1/2 inch or so subframe drop, so a body lift, I might be able to pull that off, because the where I measure this out to for ground clearance is to the jack point right here. So I measure from the very bottom of this to the ground, from the ground to right here where my finger sits, it's 9 inches exactly front and back. So if I take the rear sway bar out, I might actually get like an extra inch, 1/2 inch to 1 inch in the back, because I kept the rear sway bar but not the front one. With the new one, I plan on taking them both out, because the back of the car sits higher on stock suspension with both sway bars on stock suspension than this one does with no front sway bar, the lift, and then a rear sway bar. The body line here sits more level to the ground compared to this one, where that body line kind of goes up towards the back. So I'm thinking that might be, because when I took the front sway bar out for the first time, I gained like 1 inch of lift, or 1/2 inch of lift. It was like somewhere between 1/2 inch and 3/4. So I definitely think that might be why it looks like it's leveled or kind of squatting a little bit. So I want to take them both out on the new one, and then eventually do the coilovers, because the coilovers are also more a little bit more stiff, so it'll give me a sportier ride and then on the road. And then it might not be as comfortable off-road, but it's my daily. So if I let go of the tiniest bit of comfort off-road for a little more bouncy, and a more comfortable ride on the road, that's fine. Hell, I can just, air down too if it makes a big difference. But that's pretty much the plan. I'm going to try and get the coilovers within the next 6 months, which will probably be the last part of this build until I try to figure out how to case swap it and all-wheel drive swap it, because if I can all-wheel drive the Accord, it'll be even better than just front-wheel drive, because I want to try and put a limited slip in the front at the very least, and then if I can, a locking rear diff, if not at least a limited slip in the rear. So I want at least both limited slip, and if I can, a rear locker with the 2nd gen all-wheel drive 5-speed and K-Series in it, because then it'll be also still super reliable. It'll have a timing chain instead of a belt, so I won't have to worry about the belt as long as, I take care of my oil changes on time. And then they still make K-Series engines to this day, so keeping it, on the road should be cheap and affordable, because they make so many of them and still make them, 20 years later. So that's the future plan, but with how poor I am now, it's going to be a while before the idea ever comes to light. And then if things go right, I might try and get the same engine that's in the Matrix with the all-wheel drive system and cram it in the Celica, so that we both have all-wheel drive, because that would be awesome. So this is going to be the start of the build, and I hope you guys enjoy it.